Hi students, so today we're going to grab some magazines and find some action poses to practice. We're going to break down the figure into the skeleton and some of the muscle mass, and I want you to grab a number 2 pencil, a charcoal pencil in your sketchbook. First, you want to tape the photo in one of the top corners and do just a little bit of gesture drawing. Practice the angle of the shoulder and the spine line, that line of action. Show the angles of the arms, the legs, and you can even use your pencil as a measuring tool to make sure that your angles and shapes are roughly correct. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is negative space. Look at the space between the two legs, the space where the arms make a triangle, and make sure those are also correct. Now, once you draw the gesture once, honestly, you should try it again. You're always going to do something better the second time that you attempt it. And the more times you do this, the more you're going to get the hang of it. Now, in the introduction, we talked about the basic shapes of life, and this is how you're going to add geometric mass. So circles, usually limbs are cones, and the abdomen and the hips are more like the cylinder or a morphed version of a cylinder. We don't often use the cube in drawing the human. So now that you've practiced the gesture a few times and had a chance to practice the skeleton, now you're going to do this on a whole sheet of your sketchbook paper. So let the figure fill up the page and get the spine line of action, the hips, the shoulder line, all of the limbs, and then check some of your negative spaces and make sure those look correct before you move on. Now, as you work through these 5 magazine gestures, I want you to really take the time to get things correct, but also don't forget that you're supposed to be gaining a little bit of speed. You can make some adjustments. I'm kind of looking at how the feet are offset and changing some of those lines, angles, and lengths of the limbs before I move on. So now what I'm going to start doing is adding some of the geometric structure to the figure. So how I break this down is I have an oval, not a circle, for the head. The torso and the hips are going to be a cylinder, but it's not quite a perfect cylinder. It's going to be morphed, and you'll see how the waist kind of tapers down, and then how the hips will also flare out, almost like more of a trapezoid. So the limbs are going to be cones. And if you envision something like the elbow or the knee where it bends and you have a major joint, you're going to want to create 2 different cones that connect at the joint. So now that I finished the mass, I'm going to grab my charcoal pencil and I'm going to start adding some extra details, clothing, skin, things like that. And I'm going to be adding these in charcoal pencil as opposed to the number 2 pencil because it's darker. You want those final top layers to show some different line weights and some variation in thicknesses as you go around the figure. Try to show that there might be a direction of light with thicker or thinner lines, and use your charcoal pencil to do this portion. So please keep in mind that as you work on your second sketchbook assignment, you are going to be following the same procedure except with a personal action photo.